That's the facial expression I had and the silence that came over me when my mother took me to the police station and left me there.
If you think about it, when's the opportunity for the typical man, and particularly man of color, to talk about how they're feeling?
Really, there really is no mental health conversation. So being able to have that kind of conversation that kind of breaks down some of the stigmas, that kind of allows men to engage on a level that talks about, how do they deal with their depression? How do they deal with their anger, their sadness, their grief, their loss, for a population that oftentimes is told to kind of hold those emotions inside of them.
Because throughout the history of mankind, stories have been used to empower, to inform, to educate around what it's like to be who we are.
You get men and boys in the room through arts, through painting, through poetry, through music, and then kind of take that into a conversation around what's going on inside of you.
I'm a psychologist. I do a lot of public speaking, but I'm really clear that if I went to the community and said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Arthur Evans, and I'm going to talk to you about your mental health," I would get about 10 people on a Friday night, right? But if Jamie Brunson says we're going to do a show on storytelling and it's going to be about men telling their stories, we literally get hundreds of people to show up. First of all, to put this into context, so we're doing an event, storytelling, partnering with First Person Arts. Never been done.
We didn't know how many people would show up, right? Because you have the registration, but you still don't know because people register and don't show up. People were there about an hour and a half early.
And we sell out.
We had individuals like Black Thought from the Roots and Rich Medina on the bill, but they weren't performing, right? This wasn't, you weren't going to a Roots show or to see Rich Medina spin. You're going to hear them talk.
Of course, I'm paralyzed with fear, and I'm like, listen, I can't move because you're going to shoot me.
The next time that we do it, we get 600 people. The next time we do it, we get 1,000 people.
And that's when I got the news that I was diagnosed with kidney failure. So now I have to do dialysis 3 times a week.
And things keep growing. And so it tells us about the need that people want this, right? There was a space there that had been lacking in the city from a mental health perspective to kind of deal with these issues of loss, of violence, and how we navigate those issues and how we deal with trauma.
But what he could not do was erase the pain and the hurt of my mother abandoning me.
These men are certainly courageous, first of all, for getting up on stage and sharing their personal narrative to several hundred strangers. And I know that for them, it takes a huge amount of bravery.
Me being young and feeling betrayed and confused, I chose the side. I chose my dad.
What's really clear is it is the first time that they've been able to tell these stories in a public way. And what you hear and when you see these men tell these stories, it is clearly cathartic.
Him and my mother just would argue over and over again, He's Muslim, I'm his father, if his father's Muslim, he's Muslim. He's not allowed to go to church, But I secretly liked it because I got a chance to sing,
Yeah, when do we listen to each other? When you have these storytelling events, people are enraptured. They actually are sitting and listening, and you don't have folks who want to just try to make their points. Now, you have people who are listening to another person's story.
Oftentimes it resonates because that person on stage is my brother. That person on stage is my uncle. That person on stage is my grandpa. And so, they make those connections naturally, organically.
What we're doing is we're pushing against the culture and saying, okay, we're going to create a safe space so that you can be vulnerable, because if you can't be vulnerable, you're never going to be able to get well. You're never going to be able to get over some of the things that you might be dealing with. And so in some ways, we are pushing against the culture. We are creating a different kind of cultural context and norm, but that's a norm that we believe is going to help people to get better and to stay well and to be and to engage in healthier activity.